Welcome to Not Entirely Unlike Tea with Christine Collins. Hey there, it's Christine Collins, and we've probably heard the phrase somewhere along the way, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It seems to be something that people say whenever something bad happens to try to reassure us that something good will certainly come out of it. And that's not to say that something good can't come out of it. Often, things that happen that are frustrating, difficult, and even terrible can propel us into pursuing goals, overcoming challenges, becoming more resilient, and many other things. However, the saying itself is fraught with oversimplification of how trauma actually works in the brain. And it's a good idea for us to take it apart a little bit. So when we experience trauma, brain imaging studies show us some impact on specific areas in the brain, starting with the amygdala, which is our brain's alarm system, and it becomes hyperactive. So traumatic stress causes an increase in amygdala function, making it more easily triggered by future threats or perceived threats. And that can lead to what is known as excessive vigilance, where we are in a constant state of perceiving potential threats or anticipating the worst. Studies have shown that trauma survivors may have stronger amygdala activity, even when viewing something like a neutral facial expression, compared to people without trauma histories, which means that our brains sometimes literally perceive danger even when there isn't any. We also can run into issues in the prefrontal cortex, which is our executive control center and decision-making area. It's the part that's supposed to help us to think rationally and to regulate emotion, but we can have a decrease in medial, prefrontal, and anterior cingulate function. So we have this overactive alarm system and an underactive control system, kind of like a car with a stuck accelerator or broken brakes. There can also be damage to the hippocampus, which is very important for memory processing. There can be smaller hippocampal volume, where stress actually kills some of the cells in the hippocampus, making it a little bit less effective at synaptic connections that are necessary for proper memory consolidation. So we can't file away that trauma as being something that happened already in the past. It feels ever present and ever threatening. And all of this combined together leads to more hyper-vigilance, the ongoing persistent state of seeking out threats or perceived threats. There can be an exaggerated startle response that can be more reactive than non-traumatized individuals. There can be increases in cortisol and norepinephrine responses to stress. And it's almost as though neither the body nor the mind has gotten a message that the threat has transformed into the past tense. It's like the brain is stuck in survival mode. And that can lead to remaining on edge and being more easily emotionally triggered by anything that even comes close to resembling the original trauma, even if the resemblance seems minor. These adaptations are actually protective mechanisms that are designed to survive an ongoing threat, but not necessarily indicative of an increase in strength or even resilience. So on the one hand, we may detect threats more easily and be more likely to ferret out potential threats. But at the same time, there's a significant increase in the experience of stress, anxiety, and even depression, which can manifest into adulthood if something was experienced in childhood. So we become optimized for danger detection, but not necessarily for thriving or for happiness. And that can lead to long-term health complications, increased risk in cardiovascular disease, higher likelihood of immune dysfunction, reduced connection between different parts of the brain like the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system, which can complicate emotional processing. And that can lead to some cognitive impairment or disorders like anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder known as PTSD. And all of this is a lot more pronounced when the trauma occurs during early development. in the case of childhood trauma, which can impact brain development over a long span of time and lead to more changes in the structure and function of the brain. The good news is that there are tools and capabilities that we have to not only manage but heal some of those early or even later in life experiences. Tools like cognitive behavioral therapy, which can enhance our ability to strengthen the prefrontal cortex and create less threatening meanings around trauma-related events or triggers. There are other therapies like EMDR, which creates connectivity changes affecting bilateral temporal pole structures that can be visible even on brain scans. There are mindfulness interventions that can help to decrease amygdala volume and increase connectivity between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. There's also hypnotherapy, which has been shown to be very helpful for PTSD and helps to decrease the hyperconnectivity between different brain networks, restoring some balance in those trauma-affected circuits. And in some cases can be even more effective than various medications. There's also EFT tapping, which is emotional freedom technique, and it's been shown to have clinically beneficial brainwave changes following EFT treatments for those with PTSD or trauma history. Both hypnotherapy and EFT help to regulate that overactive stress response, while at the same time strengthening the brain's ability to have emotional regulation, helping to restore some balance that trauma has disrupted. So while it's not accurate to say that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, some of those challenging changes that occur can be healed, managed, and set back into a more balanced state. And if you find yourself interested in trying some of these tools, such as EFT tapping or hypnotherapy, I do offer a mindset membership that includes access on demand 24/7 to recorded hypnosis audios and EFT tapping videos on a variety of different topics which can be used at your leisure. And all of that information is available to you in the show notes. And until we connect the next time, I wish you the most magical and creative rest of your day. Thanks for listening. This is Christine Collins at transformcreate.com.